You make decent money, maybe really decent money, but somehow at the end of every month you're staring at your account balance wondering where it all went. No massive splurges, no financial emergencies, just gone. And here's the part that stings: you're not being irresponsible. You're not blowing money on yachts or designer bags. You're just living your life, and somehow that life costs more than it should. Studies show that most people who overspend don't have an income problem. They have a systems problem. And the difference between people who build real wealth and people who stay stuck often has nothing to do with discipline or budgeting. It comes down to a handful of tiny, automatic behaviors running in the background of their financial life. I've spent years studying the psychology of money and the behavioral patterns that keep high earners financially stuck, and what I've found completely changed the way I think about spending. Here's what I want you to take away from this video. By the time we finish, you'll have 15 specific micro habits you can start implementing today, habits that make overspending almost structurally impossible, without a single spreadsheet or budget tracker required. And I'm saving the most powerful one for the very end because most people get this completely backwards and it costs them thousands every year. Let's get into it. Habit number 1, the pause list. Before you buy anything non-essential, you write it down instead of buying it. That's it. Pull out your phone, open your notes app, and add the item. For purchases under $50, revisit the list after 24 hours. For anything over 100, give it a full week. What happens is fascinating. Most items on that list stop feeling urgent within 48 hours. The desire just evaporates. You're not using willpower to resist. You're just inserting a gap between wanting and buying, and impulse rarely survives that gap. The retail industry has spent billions engineering the shortest possible distance between desire and purchase. This habit rebuilds that distance in about 10 seconds. Habit number 2, the great unsubscribe. Every promotional email you receive is a manufactured trigger. It's not information, it's a psychological nudge designed to make you want something you weren't thinking about 5 minutes ago. Limited time offers, flash sales, exclusive member pricing, these aren't benefits. They're engineered urgency. Spend 30 minutes this week unsubscribing from every marketing list you're on. Use services that help you batch unsubscribe if the volume is high. Once you stop receiving those emails, something remarkable happens. You stop thinking about deals that don't exist for you yet. The desire never gets created in the first place. Habit number 3, delete shopping apps. Your phone is the most dangerous spending device ever invented. One-click purchasing, saved payment details, personalized recommendations pushing exactly what tempts you. Apps are designed to collapse the distance between boredom and buying. Delete them, all of them. If you genuinely need to order something, you can still use a browser. But navigating to a website, logging in, and re-entering payment information creates enough friction to kill most impulse purchases before they happen. Friction is your financial superpower. Habit number 4, the cash envelope method for your weakness categories. Look, I know cash sounds like something your grandparents used, but there's real neuroscience behind this. Handing over physical money activates the pain response in your brain in ways that tapping a card simply doesn't. Research consistently shows people spend 15 to 20% more when paying digitally versus cash. Identify your biggest discretionary leak, dining, entertainment, clothing, whatever it is, and withdraw a fixed cash amount for that category at the start of each week. When the envelope is empty, that category is done until next week. The physical reality of running out of bills creates behavioral limits that no budgeting app can replicate. Habit number 5, the morning balance check. 30 seconds every morning before you open social media or email. Just open your banking app and look at the number. That's the entire habit. What this does is keep your financial reality constantly visible instead of something you avoid until you're forced to confront it. When you know exactly where you stand, every spending decision that day becomes slightly more conscious. It's the difference between driving with your eyes open versus closed. You make better decisions when the road is visible. Still with me? Good, because this is exactly where most people tap out, and what comes next is where the real money lives. Habit number 6, one in, one out. For every new physical item you bring home, something similar has to leave. New jacket means one jacket goes to donation. New kitchen gadget means an existing one gets removed. This habit does something sneaky. It forces you to consciously evaluate whether the new item is actually better than what you already own. When you realize you'd have to give something up to acquire something new, most purchases suddenly feel a lot less necessary. It also quietly surfaces just how much you already have, which is one of the most effective natural brakes on spending. Habit number 7, the cost per use calculation. Before any significant purchase, do this quick math. Estimate how many times you'll realistically use the item over its lifetime. Divide the price by that number, that's your true cost. A $40 item you use twice costs $20 per use. A $150 item you use 300 times costs 50 cents per use. This single calculation completely rewires how you evaluate value. Cheap items that get used rarely are actually expensive. Quality items that get daily use are often bargains. It kills impulse purchases because most impulse items have terrible cost per use ratios once you run the numbers. Habit number 8, the shopping list rule. Never enter a store, physical or online, without a written list of exactly what you need. Stores are specifically engineered to generate unplanned purchases through product placement, strategic layouts, and sensory triggers. Walking in without a list is like walking into a casino without a spending limit. You will leave with things you didn't plan to buy. Write the list, commit to it completely, and treat anything not on the list as off limits until your next planned shopping trip. Habit number 9, never shop emotional. This one is underestimated. Stress, boredom, sadness, and even excitement and celebration all compromise financial decision making. When emotions run high in any direction, the brain's impulse control weakens and spending increases. Retail therapy is not therapy, it's a temporary distraction that generates financial problems, which generate more negative emotions, which generate more spending. Before any non-essential purchase, honestly check your emotional state. If you're feeling anything strongly, delay the purchase until you're back to neutral. The want will often disappear with the feeling. Habit 10. Separate your money into different accounts. When all your cash lives in one account, every dollar feels available for everything. The money mentally earmarked for rent and the money you could spend on dinner are physically indistinguishable. Set up at minimum 3 accounts, one for fixed bills, one for discretionary spending, one for savings. Automate transfers on payday so money moves immediately. What remains in your spending account is genuinely available, guilt-free. This simple structural change eliminates the confusion that causes people to feel blindsided by their balances. Habit 11, monthly subscription audit. The average person in 2026 significantly underestimates how much they spend on subscriptions monthly. The gap between what people think they're paying and what they're actually paying is often $50 to $100. Once a month, pull up every recurring charge on your statements and ask one question for each. If I weren't already subscribed, would I sign up today at this price? If the answer is no, cancel immediately. Subscriptions are designed to be forgotten. Companies love low-friction recurring billing precisely because inertia keeps people paying indefinitely. Habit 12, sleep on anything over $100. This goes beyond the pause list. Sleep genuinely changes how the brain evaluates decisions. Brain chemistry during rest affects how we weigh immediate gratification versus future consequences. The purchase that felt completely obvious at 9 in the evening often feels questionable by 9 the next morning. Make it a hard rule, nothing over $100 gets bought the same day it's considered. No exceptions. Habit 13. Track every purchase for 1 month, not forever, just 30 days. Write down every transaction, the amount, what it was, why you bought it. At the end of the month, review the full picture. Patterns will emerge that genuinely surprise you. Emotional triggers, time of day patterns, specific categories where leakage is worse than you realized. The awareness this creates doesn't disappear when you stop tracking. Once you've seen the pattern clearly, you can't unsee it. Internal awareness changes behavior more durably than any external rule. Habit 14, deliberately add friction to your spending weak spots. You already know where your money leaks most easily, maybe food delivery. Maybe a specific retailer, maybe in-app purchases, make those specific paths harder. Remove saved payment methods, log out of accounts, delete apps and require reinstallation before buying. Every additional step is another moment to reconsider. Most impulse purchases don't survive 4 or 5 friction points. Simultaneously, remove friction from savings and investing by making them fully automatic. Now here's the one I saved for last, because it's the habit almost nobody talks about and it might be the most powerful of everything on this list. Habit 15, make your financial progress physically visible. Here's the real reason spending feels rewarding and saving feels like nothing. Buying something gives you an immediate, visible, tangible result. Not spending gives you nothing you can see. That asymmetry is why restraint feels like deprivation even when you know intellectually it's the right move. The solution is to make saving visually rewarding. Create a progress tracker for your financial goals. A chart on your wall, a bar graph in a notebook, a simple spreadsheet you update weekly. Every time you resist an impulse purchase, immediately transfer that amount toward your goal and update the tracker. That $47 you didn't spend on something forgettable becomes $47 visibly moving you towards something that actually matters to you. You're not depriving yourself anymore. You're winning. That psychological shift changes everything. Here's the bottom line on all 15 of these habits. None of them require sustained willpower because willpower is finite and unreliable. What they do instead is change the environment, the defaults, and the systems around you so that good financial decisions happen almost automatically. You're not fighting your own impulses through sheer force of character. You're rebuilding the conditions around you so the impulses never get the traction they need. So here's my question for you, and I genuinely want to know this. Which of these 15 habits hits closest to home for you right now? Is it the subscriptions you've been meaning to cancel? The emotional spending you recognize but haven't addressed? The visible progress piece that you've never tried? Drop it in the comments. I read them, and it helps me understand exactly what to cover next. If this video gave you something real and practical, subscribe, because this channel is specifically built for people who are smart enough to earn well and ready to actually keep what they make. We go deep on the behavioral side of money in a way that most financial content completely ignores. Your financial life doesn't change with one big dramatic decision. It changes with 15 small ones repeated daily until they're just who you are. Start today, pick 3 from this list. That's your only homework. See you in the next one.